everyone, welcome to English for You. I'm Kat.
And I'm Elsie.
And today we are talking about recycling.
Recycling. Do you recycle?
Yeah, of course. It's very easy to do in Taiwan.
Yeah, and what are some things that we can recycle?
I mean, we got the usual plastic, paper, aluminum.
Bottles, cans.
Yeah.
Paper, yes.
And there's also another category, though, which is e-waste or electronics.
Do you recycle e-waste?
I do, yeah. I mean, I think there's several ways you can do it. But you can, if you have like an old laptop or an old phone, you can actually take it to a 7-Eleven and they will give you like a certain amount of money to spend if you give it to them to recycle.
Really? To a 7-Eleven?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
It's true. And you can also just put it in a bag and give it to the trash truck people and they will sort it out. Yeah, it's very good. But it's really important, actually, to recycle e-waste because we can have as much plastic as we want, almost, or paper, but we might be running out of the stuff that electronics are made of.
Okay, so it's really important to recycle e-waste. And what is e-waste and how do we recycle it? Let's find out.
Reading.
Recycling e-waste helps save materials. What is e-waste, and why should we be concerned about it? E-waste is what we call electronic devices that people have thrown away. This includes computers, televisions, and phones. Recycling e-waste is difficult because e-waste contains dangerous materials that need to be separated into individual components. This is expensive and takes a lot of time. It's a necessary process, though. According to a 2021 study, the world has 57 million tons of e-waste. Experts say that if we don't recycle, we'll run out of key parts to make electronic devices. We're currently producing about 2 million more tons of e-waste every year. Only 20% of that is being recycled. Electronics companies can do more to fix this problem. For example, they could allow customers to trade in their old devices. Also, people can help by only buying new electronics when they really need to. Finally, older working devices could be given away. A little more care could help save Earth's precious resources.
So our article starts out today by asking a very important question. What is e-waste and why should we be concerned about it? So of course, just like an email or e-commerce or eBay maybe stands for electronic. So here also it means electronic waste. And why should we be concerned? So concerned means to be anxious about something, to be worried. When you are concerned, you're thinking, oh no, something might happen, or this is something I need to think about because it's important. So, for example, when Lisa saw her little brother struggling with his math homework, she became concerned about his ability to keep up with the class.
Concerned 这个形容词是担心的或是忧虑的，当然也可以说是 worried. Be concerned or be worried about somebody or something, 那就是担心某人或某事。那如果呢，你想要用子句来说的话，你可以用的是 be concerned that 再加上子句带出所担心的事情。So why should we be concerned about e-waste?
Well, e-waste is what we call electronic devices that people have thrown away. Just like I said before, it's like E stands for electronic. Now, what is electronic? If you've been wondering up to this point, electronic means something that operates through many small electrical parts, like microchips and transistors, things that like TSMC makes. They make electronic parts. Or also electronics can be things that operate by a computer. So your phone, your headphones, maybe your computer. Well, your computer itself is an electronic. Your TV, speakers, anything like that. Anything that makes electricity and uses a computer and you use for that kind of thing, that's electronic. Those are electronic devices. So here's another example. By age 3, Kelly already knew how to use electronic devices like phones and tablets. And then you probably hear me keep using the word device. This is an object or a machine or something that is made for a special purpose. So like we often call our phones electronic devices because they're a certain electronic thing that's made for a certain purpose, which is to call and do other things on.
OK， 所以我们一直在说的 e-waste， 那个 e 代表的就是 electronic， 也就是形容词电子的或是电子化的或者是电子零件的。所以呢，我们刚刚讲到很多的 electronic devices， 也就是电子产品或我们说的 3C 产品。那还有像是 tablets， 平板也是 smart watches， 智慧型的手表 digital cameras， 智慧型的相机，好，这些都是 electronic devices。And
the article gives us a couple more examples. This includes computers, televisions, and phones. So, how is it important to recycle e-waste? Recycling e-waste is difficult because e-waste contains dangerous materials that need to be separated into individual components. That's true. There are some metals or other things in phones or things like that if you don't separate them properly when they're in the device or when they're outside the device, they can actually explode or poison people or things like that. So they are dangerous materials. A material is a substance that something is made from or something can be made from. So for example, like gold and aluminum and plastic is a material as well. So materials can also be called raw materials, especially if they come straight out of the earth or straight out of a lab and you use them to make things. So an example sentence for this could be, the materials used for this table are just wood, paint, and metal. Then we have individual. So we said they need to be separated into their individual components. Individual means just one part of a larger group. And we always use this before a noun. So we'd say like individual cans of Coke, which means one can of Coke by one can of Coke. Or individual people, one person by one person, not as part of a group, but it's talking about one part of that group. So another example might be something like this. An individual drop of pond water can have millions of tiny animals living in it.
OK， 那我们来整理一下咯。首先呢，有讲到的字是 material， 好，这个名词呢，代表就是材质或是原料，像是呢，盖房子的时候会需要一些原料，像是 building materials 有 bricks 砖块，有 cement 有水泥。那这边讲到课文讲到的是 dangerous materials， 那可能就是一些化学物质。好，化学物质指的是呢 chemical substances， so they need to be separated into individual components。individual 这个字刚刚也有讲到，代表的是个别的，在这边呢用的是形容词的形式哦。那它呢来形容的是 component 这个名词叫做零件。那 individual 这个字本身也可以当做名词用，代表就是 a single person， 好，个人。那再来我们还看到了 recycle 这个动词，刚刚有讲到它是回收利用的意思。那像在学校啊或是在街上，如果你看到垃圾桶或是回收桶上面写3R Three R's 指的是什么？有 recycle， 有回收，有 reuse 再利用，还有一个就是 reduce 指的就是要减量。
That's right. So it's important to recycle e-waste because of these dangerous components that if you just put them in the trash, they can cause a lot of problems. And that's why, trash piles that have electronic things in them can be dangerous to handle, dangerous to be around. If they set on fire, then you can't breathe the smoke. It's really bad. So we have to separate all those things into their individual components. And also, reuse them in new electronics. That's very important. However, it's not that easy because the article says this is expensive and takes a lot of time.
很昂贵，而且会很花时间。So it's very time consuming.
Yes, it is. Yeah. So, a lot of recycling is time consuming because you have to make sure everything is clean and sorted into the right categories and things like that. But e-waste, because it's more dangerous, can take even more time. It's a necessary process, though. Of course, it's necessary means it needs to be done. And it's a process. A process is kind of like steps. It's a series of actions that make something or lead to a certain result. So when you're talking about a process, you're talking about the steps you have to take in order to get something done. And it's usually the same for everything like that because it's something that you set and then you know how to do it. And yeah, you have to do it the correct way or else something might go wrong. However, not everybody's process is set in stone. For example, this artist's process of making paintings is incredibly complicated and lengthy. It means it takes a long time and a lot of different steps and a lot of work.
那例句里面的 the process of making paintings 那就是他在绘画的过程当中，好，他在制图的过程当中。那 process 这个名词指的就是过程、步骤或是程序，像是呢 the learning process 学习的过程、学习的步骤、学习的程序，或是 the aging process 老化的过程。那如果我们要说呢，某个人在做某事的过程当中，可以是 be in the process of doing something.
So yeah, there's processes of doing things by steps, and there's also processes of letting things grow. So like the aging process, the learning process. Now, so we had to learn some facts about e-waste if we're going to talk about why it's so important to recycle it. According to a 2021 study, the world has 57 million tons of e-waste.
Really?
So a ton is 1,000 pounds or something like 1,000 kilos, I think, in a metric ton. There's 57 million of those. That's a lot.
吨
Yeah.
那一吨好像是1000公斤嘛，对不对？
Yeah.
所以这边有57 million tons of e-waste， 那就是5700万吨的e-waste.
That's right. Experts say that if we don't recycle, we'll run out of key parts to make electronic devices. Wow, so actually, if we don't, reuse all the stuff, we're not going to be able to have more electronics in the future.
那 run out of something 就是用完或是耗尽，像是如果你要说，赶快，我们那个时间快要用完了 ，we are running out of time.
That's right. We're running out of time to fix this problem and other kinds of problems like it. We're currently producing about 2 million more tons of e-waste every year. So, yeah, 57 million tons, and then we're making 2 million more every year to add to that. And it's probably a growing number. Only 20% of that is being recycled.
Why do you think we have more and more e-waste?
I think it's a matter of we are using more and more electronic things because,
As technology advances.
Yeah, and as people, are racing to make more products and more advanced things, and everybody wants to get the newest phone, so there's more new phones being released, things like that. And everybody has very specific wants that they have for their electronic products. Like, I want a washing machine that does this. I want an air conditioner that does this. I want a computer that does this.
Yeah, or every year I need a new iPhone.
Exactly. Yeah, you don't need a new phone every year. I'm sorry.
Don't.
You just don't, unless you're constantly dropping your old one. Right. So anyway, only 20% of what we make, the 2 million more tons is being recycled. So, less than 1 million tons is being recycled. That's pretty bad. So electronics companies can do more to fix this problem. Yeah, it's not all up to people individually. It's also up to the companies that make them. So electronics, you might notice that this is plural this time. It's not electronic companies, but electronics companies. Because if we use electronic as an adjective, we're talking about the thing itself. So like electronic devices, those are computers or phones. If we say it's an electronic company, that means it's a company that runs on computers. And that's kind of true, but in this case, we're talking about companies that make electronics. It's talking about the industry, not the things.
所以像我们刚刚学到的这个 electronic 它是形容词，那这里呢 electronics 字尾加上了 s， 它代表的是电子产业，就是呢生产电子产品的公司。Okay, so what are some things they can do to help?
For example, they could allow customers to trade in their old devices. I think there are some that do this now, but not all of them.
Okay, so they could allow customers to trade in their old devices. So let's say I don't want my old iPhone. I can bring it to the company.
Yeah. Or the
and
store.
then ask for a new one.
Yeah, that's right. And probably they could give you a really, really big discount so that you don't have to spend so much money on the new one.
所以 trade in something 就是将某物，好，特别是旧的物品拿去折价换购新的东西来。所以这边我们看到的是 trade in their old devices， 拿旧的装置来换新 so that they don't have to throw them away or buy new ones, right?
That's right. So yeah, they can buy a new one, but they can give the old one back so that it can be reused and by the same company. And that way they keep all their supplies in the same place.
But what is the company going to do with the old device?
They recycle it.
They
would use the components in a new phone.
Oh, yes.
Because it's not like gold goes bad. It just, it needs to be put into a new way and then it can work again. Yeah. Also, people can help by only buying new electronics when they really need to. That's right. I actually buy a lot of second-hand electronics, like not my computer or my phone, but when it comes to things like household appliances, like heaters or air purifiers or things like that, I try to buy second-hand ones.
Yeah, but I got a question for you. When was the last time you bought your cell phone?
A cell phone? I actually bought it about 2 months ago because my old one, I dropped it and it stopped working completely.
And how long had you used that old one?
3.5 years. Yeah.
Pretty long, but not too long.
Not too long, but just because I'm clumsy and I keep dropping my phones.
You dropped it and smashed it.
That's right. And so if I didn't drop my phone so much, I think I would probably be able to keep it longer.
Bro.
Yeah, oh well. But we all do what we can. All right. So, yeah, people can buy new electronics only when they really need to. Like, I only really bought a new phone when I really, really needed to because my old one didn't work at all. Finally, older working devices could be given away. Yeah, or resold. So, like, people will resell old phones that they have or, give them to people who need a phone but maybe can't afford to buy one. Something like that.
Do you think those big companies would like this kind of trend, like recycling phones and get a secondhand one?
I don't know. I mean, I think they want to make money, and I think that this would be something expensive for them. But I think if they're creative enough, they honestly could figure out a way to still make money off of it. So, I think it's more important to conserve those resources, to conserve those parts, than it is to make a lot of money and, make a lot of new things.
Right. And speaking of resources.
Yeah. So our last sentence here, a little more care could help save Earth's precious resources. A resource is a supply of something that someone has and you can use when they need it. We also use it to talk about countries' resources or Earth's resources. These are things that a country has that it can use to increase its wealth by trading them or using them in products or something like that. So, like a person's resources could be their money, their skills, maybe the things that they own that they can use. Countries' resources are usually things like food or metals or I don't know, other things like trees. Like trees can be a natural resource. And yeah, Taiwan, of course, has its own. So an example sentence, many of Taiwan's natural resources, like its food and metals, are sent to other countries.
Resource 这个字指的就是资源，那像天然资源呢，我们就在前面加一个 natural 这个形容词 natural resources。那如果是再生的资源 renewable resources。那还有像是线上的资源，是我们每个人都可以很轻易取得的，那个是 an online resource。那或是我们教学的时候都需要参考一些教学资源，那就会是 a teaching resource。
Right, so there's resources for all different kinds of things. In this case, we're talking about the resources that Earth has that are used to make electronics, which are running out. Literally, we might not have some of them in less than 100 years, so we need to be careful.
Yeah, we have to do something about it.
That's right. It's very important to think about this because we all use electronic devices in our daily lives and have to dispose of them somehow.
So we have to choose the right way to get rid of them.
That's right. We have to do our research, trade them back to the company if we can. You could take it to 7-Eleven and get something in exchange, something like that. So there's lots of different things you could do. It's up to you to find out. So, yeah.
Okay, so I think now we have to go to our For You chat question.
You Chat.
All right, our For You Chat question for today. You want to throw away something electronic. How will you do it? Do you think that's the right way?
When I'm trying to get rid of my old device, I would bring it to a secondhand store.
Oh, really? Do you take it to a secondhand electronics store?
Yes, and I try to sell it.
No
matter how much I can get from it, I just sell it there.
I think that's a good idea.
Yeah.
If mine's not completely broken,
That's a good point.
If it's completely broken, I will give it to the recycling truck or I will take it to 7-Eleven and get money for it that I can buy something with. If it's not completely broken, if it's still working well, I will sell it secondhand on like a Facebook group or something like that. Yeah.
Or on Shopee.
Yeah, exactly. Well,
That's a good
I don't
way
know how
too.
to sell on Shopee, but yeah, I know you can. Anyway, yep. Do you think that's the right way?
I think so.
Yeah.
But I'm not 100% sure because I don't know what they will do with the old device.
Right, but once it's out of your hands, you know you can't control what they will do. You can only do your best, and you can't control what other people do. I'm sure that if they're buying secondhand electronics, they're probably buying them for a good reason. So, yeah, I think it's the best we can do. Do the best you can, and there's never 100% right way, but there's, also many ways that are still helpful.
Yeah, at least we're not throwing it into the trash can.
Exactly. Okay, so that's all we've got for this article, and we hope you've learned something valuable about e-waste with us. For English for You, I'm Kat.
I'm Elsie.
We'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Vocabulary Review.
Concerned. Billy spent all his time in his room and almost never went out. His parents were concerned about him. Electronic. We keep all of our records on an electronic system, so you can view them on this computer. Material. These watches cost more because they were made using more expensive materials like gold and silver. Individual. Each student was given an individual project to do by themselves at home. Process. The process of making a computer isn't simple. It requires many steps to complete. Resource. Resource. Japan lacks many natural resources, such as oil, and has to buy them from other countries.
智慧小补帖
Device. Recycle. Component.
以上节目是由活用空中美语制作，活用空中美语杂志，请洽询全国各大书店。如欲索取试听教材，请来电02-2364-4000 02-2364-4000，或上网查询，网址是 www.english4u.net www.english4u.net